Hello and great Monday morning. It is absolutely gorgeous out. There's a nip in the air. It was a frost last night, and I love this time of year. You know what? I've been called annoyingly positive before. And it's funny because I learned something today that I either didn't know or I'd forgotten. And I'm not sure at this point which it is, but I'll lay it on you. I was walking, and I've been re-listening to Think and Grow Rich, which is obviously one of the best and most well-known books on personal development. But I've listened to it and read it a few times. I've listened to it a few times. I've read it a few times. But I love re-listening to stuff that I've digested once or twice before, or more times than that, because I'm listening now with different ears. I got a certain amount of information out of it last time, and this time I've gotten a little more, and this time I've gotten a little more. And now I'm actually really starting to dig into the information in a way that I didn't have the ears to hear it before, I guess is the easiest way to say it. That being said, I was just witnessing something unfortunate with some drug-addicted people, and listening to the screaming and yelling and what the content of it. And I won't get into particulars, but it made me sad. So I thought, how does somebody end up in this spot, both physically and mentally? And all of a sudden, an old lesson popped up. I don't know if you've ever read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, but it's the principle he talks about. And I really just believe it's, you get to a point, we're never going up and we're never going down. We're never staying still. We're either going up or we're going down in our mental attitude and our position in life. Excuse me. What I heard when I was listening to How to Win Friends and Influence People was that the normal state that we feed our subconscious mind with is negative. That we don't have to think about being negative. Our brain does that for us. And I really got thinking, well, if our brain already feeds us with negative, with no effort whatsoever, and somebody never gets positive put in, and just more negative, what would that do to somebody psychologically? And then on the other side of it, there's something in the air. There's more people yelling outside now. On the other side of it, I don't consider myself, I don't think I'm instinctively negative. I think I'm instinctively positive. But is that just that I've been working on it so long because I wanted to be positive? I have said in previous conversations with people that I have engineered my mood. It doesn't happen by accident, and it's true. I do have a specific pattern that I run to make myself positive and be able to be out in the world as what I feel is my most powerful self. All of that being said, how does one end up in a spot like that? Or on the opposite end of the scale, end up at a super achiever? Well, it comes down to the compound effect. And this is where I'm kind of melding both books together. But, I've read them both. I've read them both a number of times. I've listened to both a number of times. And it's like the dots have been connected. I don't, maybe I'm just simple. Maybe I never got it before. Maybe I wasn't listening, or maybe I've just evolved mentally to the point that I can understand it, but I never saw the correlation between those two things. I didn't get that they were talking about the same thing, but in an order that they have to happen. So we're never going up, and we're either going up or we're going down. Our mind is set to negative. So most of us are going down, unless we have a positive influence in our life. If you think about how the way the positive influences impact our psyche as a child, we'd always talk about, having positive role models for a child. Why do we do that? Well, who are the role models that most people are looking at nowadays? It's frightening. But that's how we first start to learn, is by role models. We model the people that we look up to. We need more people we can look up to, obviously, but as we evolve and as we age, we gain new ways of inputting information. We can read, we can choose our own groups of friends to hang out with, and we can go to seminars, and we can also drink, and we can do drugs, and we can go the other way. And it's really, to me, it's fascinating, because whatever you're feeding your subconscious mind with your conscious thoughts, that's what you're going to get more of. So how does a person end up in that spot? Well, slowly at first, and then all of a sudden. That's where it gets a little crazy. I've had the bad fortune of losing people over the years that I love due to drug addiction. And it doesn't happen overnight. At first, it's gradual. You don't notice it. You start hanging out on weekends with the wrong people, and well, then maybe a Tuesday night. And next thing you know, they're different. They're not the same person they were. And then you stop seeing them all together. And then maybe they show up and steal something, or some bad things happen. But it was slowly at first. And then it was like all of a sudden, it was just a change, but it wasn't. It was engineered. Now, they may not know or be aware of the fact that they're engineering it. However, they did. The circumstances that they put themselves in daily and what they were feeding their subconscious mind with, the predominant thoughts reflected their reality. And then vice versa. It's like the old, maybe I'm rambling today, but it's the old, is art imitating life, or is life imitate art? Chicken and the egg sort of thing, I guess. But we have to feed our minds with positive thoughts. The world is really, really messed up. And we have our conscious mind and we have our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind's only job is to prove what you're thinking. It doesn't have a choice. And the problem is, it takes a long time to get it to spin around. But if you're doing the right things, if you're feeding it the right information, if you're inputting great books and great ideas and modeling great role models, your subconscious mind has absolutely no choice but to turn in that direction and start to go up. And then slowly, at first, you'll start to notice changes. And then boom, all of a sudden, things start to happen. Opportunities pop up where you never saw them before. Where once I was blind, now I see. The scales have been removed from my eyes. I have gone and reworked a plan for myself for the last, let's say, 6 months. And it hasn't been perfect, and it hasn't happened overnight. But I can say, all of a sudden, things are popping up. All of a sudden, opportunities are presenting themselves. All of a sudden, the feedback from what seems like magic, however, I can tell you it is not. The universe starts to bend to your will. Now, there is some mystique in that, but the fact that we don't understand how our subconscious truly works, I believe that it's worth exploring. What if it takes 6 weeks, or 6 months, or 6 books, or 6 seminars, or 100 seminars, or 100 books? But what if you knew that no matter what, if you followed that path, eventually you would have to get to the success that you actually want. But you got to know what you want. You got to believe that it's possible. Now, this sounds like a motivational speech, and it's terrible. But it's not by accident. I have had a daily regimen of feeding myself with exercise and positive thoughts. And I'm not just saying, ooh, woo, woo, positive thoughts. First thing I do is I wake up and I thank God. I am grateful for another day. It's the last thing I do at night. I shake my body awake. I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord, for another day. That sets my mind right. I have my 2 cups of coffee, and then I go for a walk, and I listen to something positive. And the thing is, I'm just re-listening over and over and over and over again till it's almost boring. But that's the way I'm getting the best information out of it. It's kind of crazy how much it's absorbing this time, but I've been doing it almost religiously for, I would say, 3 to 4 months for sure, but I think it's been about 6. And I can tell you what it's doing to me up here. I haven't felt this invigorated in a long time, and I haven't felt possibilities like this in a long time. So, how does one get out of a spot like that? Well, unfortunately, that stuff has to come from inside. That's where God gave us free will. Go figure. The one great thing is that we can all make bad choices. However, bad choices do not equal a bad future. Sorry. Bad choices and a bad history do not necessarily mean you're going to have a bad future if you change the things that you're feeding your mind. I always remember one of the best managers I ever worked for, David Kidd. David said, if you always did what you always done, you always get what you always got. I've heard it said in a much more eloquent way, but I really like the way that sounds. So, if you're going through some stuff right now, and you can't really put your finger on it, I would start with what you're putting into your mind. Find something positive that you can read, or listen to, or watch. And remember, it doesn't happen like that. At least not at first. Because it's slowly at first. And then all of a sudden. But it's up to you. You get to make those choices. Nobody else can make them for you. And if you want recommendations, shoot me a message. I can certainly put you onto some great role models. I can show you some great authors and brilliant seminars to go to. But that's up to you. You've got to find those things too. Because not everybody that speaks to me is going to speak to you. Anyhow, November 22nd, Rumble on the River. Get your tickets. They are starting to go fast now. It's kind of awesome. I get pumped seeing the sales happening online. Yeah, we're also looking for sponsors. If anybody wants to be a sponsor on this, please reach out to me. I'd love to have some ring sponsors and people presenting trophies and stuff like that. But November 22nd at the Dunnville Arena. Get your tickets. I'll put the link in the description below. Or you scan the QR code on the posters that you see around town. Or DM me. I will give you the link to sign up. That's it for me today. Until tomorrow. Oh. That's not it for me today. I keep forgetting to do this. There is oh gosh, I've lost the paper. There's a fire prevention day at the Optimus Club this Saturday. A lady stopped me and asked if I would do an announcement on here. So, yeah, fire prevention. Oh, there it is. Haha. Fire prevention day this Saturday at the Optimus Hall in Dunnville. I'm not going to read the address. If you're in Dunnville, you know where the Optimus Hall is. Anyhow, that's it for me today. Have a fantastic day. Until tomorrow, know that I love you, and I'll see you soon.